Is there a book and page number you can reference me to, please? Could you read the exact language of the report, sir? I don't have it available to me. I don't have a copy of the report, Congressman. I'm sorry, Congressman, what page was it? Okay, and which paragraph, sir? Congressman, I'm just trying to find in the Mueller report where it states that. I'd like a reference, sir, so I can follow along on what they're asking.
The first tentative step toward impeachment by the House.
President Trump's former campaign manager, Corey Lewandowski, in the hot seat on Capitol Hill. Lewandowski
Testifying before the House Judiciary Committee this afternoon.
2 aides were also subpoenaed to appear today, but the White House ordered them not to.
The White House has also ordered Lewandowski not to answer questions about events that occurred after President Trump was elected, claiming those are covered by executive privilege.
What makes him think that he's covered by executive privilege? Someone who's never worked in the executive branch of government, someone who's never been a White House employee.
I think that we saw Corey Lewandowski's strategy right from the get-go.
I don't know the answer to that. That'd be a question for Jeff Sessions. But you'd have to ask President Trump that.
Stonewalling in one word, and he's trying to be coy and smug about it because he knows full well that he is going to drain the time.
I think I'm the good-looking man, actually.
Okay.
The White House has directed not disclose the substance of any discussions with the president. What you've just read on the screen, the White House has directed not disclose the substance of any discussions with the president or his advisor. You're welcome to read it. The White House has directed not disclose the substance of any discussions.
It's a disaster. I don't think that this is going the way Democrats intended for it to go. They should have been prepared for this sort of procedural maneuvering by Lewandowski.
Democrats are talking impeachment, and it's not just about President Trump.
Massachusetts Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley is introducing an impeachment inquiry resolution
against Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh.
It's deeply concerning that someone who serves on the highest court of the land could have this many allegations.
Calls for Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh to be impeached continue to roll in after the New York Times went public with that uncorroborated sexual misconduct allegation.
I've called for impeachment.
He should step down or he should be impeached.
But
key Democrats on Capitol Hill are throwing cold water on the idea.
House Judiciary Chair Jerry Nadler says
we have our hands full with impeaching the president right now, and that's going to take up our limited resources and time for a while.
I don't see the point of beginning an impeachment proceeding that we know would be doomed to failure in the Senate vis-a-vis Justice Kavanaugh. With the president, there are other considerations.
Minority Whip Dick Durbin quipped, quote, "Get real."
As we saw with 2018 midterms, remember Kavanaugh was a rallying cry, and turnout suggested that it did serve to help Republicans maintain their Senate majority.
And he's a great man, by the way, great talent, a great, brilliant man, Brett Kavanaugh.
The U.S. and Saudi Arabia have determined with high probability that the strikes on 2 Saudi oil facilities came from inside Iran.
There's a feeling that there's a need to retaliate, but what that response might look like is a really open question at this point.
On the one hand, the president
downplaying any talk of war.
I don't want war with anybody.
On the other, keeping the possibility of using military action open.
I'm not looking to get into new conflict, but sometimes you have to.
Vice President Mike Pence adding his voice to all of this.
We don't want war with anybody, but the United States is prepared.
It will perhaps be looked back on as the most fateful decision of the Trump administration to have withdrawn from the Iran nuclear deal. And then the Trump administration essentially tried to strangle Iran by amping up economic sanctions.
And now we shouldn't act surprised when they strike back. Both Democrats and Republicans on the Hill demanding a briefing.
This administration that lies about weather maps or crowd sizes cannot be trusted to give us the full information.
An attack on Saudi Arabia is not an attack on the U.S. There's no basis to go to war.
Nobody's talking about invading Iran, but we want to make them pay a price for trying to disrupt world order.
It is ironic, perhaps, that just days after the exit of John Bolton, the former national security advisor, that the president now has walked out first a line that was really hawkish and then walked that back somewhat to saying, no, I don't want war.
It's Sean Spicer.
This was the largest audience to ever witness an inauguration, period.
Hitler, who didn't even sink to using chemical weapons. Paul Manafort, who played a very limited role for a very limited amount of time. But our intention is never to lie to you, Jonathan.